Another Saturday it is, and we're much obliged, as always, to have you join us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio on the ITV Radio Network. My name is Sonny Duke Okosi, your host on the program. In the last couple of days, particularly this week, there have been a couple of trending issues, but most topical has to do with the plight of Nigerians in the midst of the hardship, the economic situation. Questions are being asked about the economic blueprint of the present government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and how all of that will pan out in the days to come. But one major thorny issue that has been on the front burner in recent times is the supplementary budget of Mr. President, which is over 2 trillion naira. Two items on that supplementary budget have attracted the wrath of Nigerians with reactions and counter-reactions. There is the talk about a presidential yacht which is costing over 5 billion naira. There is also the talks about official vehicles for ministries, department, agencies, as well as the presidency costing over 6 billion naira. How necessary are these expenditures against the background of the economic realities where government is asking the people to tighten the belts, bear with the new administration with the hope that things is going to get better? What with the fact that the present government has a slogan, renewed hope? Our guests today on the show are joining us via Zoom. Let me begin by appreciating Dr. Washington Osifo is a lawyer, former two-time commissioner in Edo State, and also a public affairs commentator. Dr. Washington Osifo, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me, Sonny. Through you to the ITV crew and the Edo people, and of course, Nigerians. Good morning.
We also have with us a senior lecturer from the Mudiame University in Edo Central District of Edo State. Is a development economist. I'd like to thank very especially Dr. Francis Igberasi. Many thanks for joining us, Dr. Francis.
Thank you, Mr. Sonny Dukokoso, and thank you, RTV, for this opportunity.
As always the case, our studio line will be open so you can take a shot in some of the conversations that we'll be having on the show. We always advise that when that opportunity comes, take advantage of it by using it judiciously. Do not cast aspersion on anyone. Also ensure that you turn down the audio level on your television or radio to remove the echo so we can have a very meaningful and flawless communication and conversation for the benefit of the listening and viewing public out there. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of the show. Let me begin with you, Dr. Francis Igberasi. What do you make of the economic blueprint of the present administration, and against the background of some of the realities that we have and the reactions and counter-reactions that have been trailing it, with a lot of promises made, and it always seems like those promises are coming to fruition anytime soon?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Duke. First of all, I think the politics has come and gone now. What the business is now, for every patriotic Nigerian, irrespective of political parties, is to face the reality and the cost of building a nation. Because it is a consistent build of a nation. It is not about who is the president. It is not about the country. It's not about the party. It is about a nation which we all have a task to build. So having said that, I would want to use this opportunity to comment on the issues you have raised. Really, the economy is biting, and everybody knows that. It will be a fallacy if the presidency and those in government pretend they do not know. Of course, they know, and they have also told us, as you have said, situation in terms of whatever economic indicator which we have, where some countries like Kenya, Ghana, Ethiopia are doing everything to reduce cost of governance, the budget we see they are appropriating, the appropriation from the presidency is increasing the current expenditure, which will lead us to nowhere. And this is why Nigerians are shouting. This is why economists are crying and laying their cautions to the government. Because if we continue in this direction, we will have nowhere. The gestation period for the manifestation of the policies of the president will become longer. And this is where I will have to have a break now.
Okay. All right, Dr. Francis Igbe, I say thank you very much for that foundation that you just presented for us to have this conversation. Let me go to Dr. Washington Osifo, who is joining us via Zoom from Abuja. There are questions about this supplementary budget and several policies that have been brought forth by the present administration. And one of the critical points that has been raised is that for every policy, there is a gestation period. Would you say or subscribe to the feelings in some quarters that we need to allow these policies to mature before we begin to engage and interrogate them, as it were?
Well, in life, there are certain things that are given. They are such that without passing through that route, you can never get to your destination. And this is exactly what it is. Even you and I talking here, our gestation period as human beings, forming in our mother's womb, is 9 months. So if it comes short of that or even above that, it creates some medical problems that require some medical explanations. So for me, I think what is happening now, it is not unusual. All over the world, I think the entire world is battling with economic issues here and there. And the wars that was happening presently happening between Russia and Ukraine, and now recently Israel and the Hamas or the Palestinian. Every time that there is a war somewhere, it touches on the entire world, and that's what makes us. That's what makes the world unique, and that's why we must always learn to fight together. I want to take it from where the distinguished doctor stopped. His contributions. Yes, he acknowledged the fact that politics is over. He acknowledged the fact that we are all involved in this and we need to work together. He also acknowledged the fact that things are so rough, and I don't think there's anybody in this country, even the super rich, they are also complaining that things are bad. Those that are into business, one thing or the other, it's also affecting them and all of that. So, but what he has also acknowledged that he thought that yes, he thinks that those in shadow the responsibility of taking care of fixing the state, the nation, they are aware, and they have even come out to confess that they are aware and doing everything about it. Sonny, when you are in an airplane where you have faith in, you have donated yourself to be a passenger in an airplane, willingly so, and you have a pilot in the cockpit battling with the co-pilot, you may just sit comfortably or otherwise when you are passing through bumpy flight. You may not know what the pilot is dealing with. However, in the mind of the pilot, knowing that if the flight goes down, the pilot will also go down. The pilot does everything humanly possible without necessarily saying those things that could be frightening to the passengers, because that is not what he should do. It is only when it becomes critical that it suggests that there may be no hope for survival, then the pilot starts telling you, calling for Mayday. And on calling for Mayday, he will also tell the passengers, please, this is the situation, because you never can tell. It may be the last. But if we stumble and we still survive, but let it be said that professionally, the pilot did all that was required by the pilot. This is exactly how you can describe a man saddled with the responsibility of flying a nation's flight, in this case Nigeria. They are there. They see a lot. They took over from a government that in very many respects was reckless in terms of policy making and decision decision making. Now, looking at what happened to Naira, this free fall of Naira, it started some years before the man who came in. Now he knows he has worked in the private sector. He knows exactly what to do. He is an economist himself, so he's an accountant, and he's trying to work with like minds to see how best he can fix it. It is not for him a time to lament. He has always been the first to tell us that the times will be very, very tough. But however succeed, he knows he must succeed because Nigerians can't wait. And so I also want to salute Nigerians because I've seen what is happening. I am also in going through these hard times. We are so feeling it. My family, your family, everybody were feeling it. But I also want to commend Nigerians. They are the most resilient, peaceful, understanding people on earth. But that is not to say you take them for granted.
Okay, Dr. Washington, let me just
understand what is happening.
Yeah, let me just ask you this question, Dr. Washington Sifo. For a moment, you also need to establish your facial contact with your camera so we can see your face directly. Yes, exactly. Make it more frontal so we can see your face. Okay, the point I wanted to make is that, yes, I think it's a lot better. But here is a question. As bad as the situation is, the president has a handle on them, like you said, which means he truly appreciates what Nigerians are going through. What's your take? Is there any justification for they talk of about a $5 billion yacht, presidential yacht, or what is your take on the justification for the over $6 billion worth of official vehicles at a time where some countries are cutting costs of governance? There's a president recently who said he had to ask those in the presidency to get the vehicles used by the previous administration, refurbish them, and put them to service. So what's wrong if we have such a thing done in Nigeria? If the president is asking Nigerians to bear with him, and Nigerians are indeed bearing with him, but it doesn't seem to me that he's keeping his own part of the bargain by ensuring that cost of governance is drastically reduced. We heard a story by Senator Ali Ndume, who said that the yacht in question was actually something that came from the previous administration that has been signed and delivered, but it hasn't been paid for. Can't Mr. President reject that deal and put the money into some judicious use that will have direct impact on the lives of the people? So how sincere is this administration towards affecting the lives of Nigerians positively if we are seeing them getting themselves involved in this kind of activities that really doesn't show to us that they are committed to making life better for the ordinary Nigerians?
Yeah, very good question, Sonny. Every model is good, especially when it's there to, you can copy the good ones. I like what you said about a certain president who thought that the best thing to do is to fix the vehicles that were used by previous administration. Beautiful idea, But let us even take that of the yacht first. I am sure the government has put forward an explanation that as Nigerians or some Nigerians who want to think, it is not a pleasure yacht. It is a request by the Navy, who ordinarily they have done their research and they think that it is needed, especially in our waterways that is so porous. When we complain every day that strangers come to our waterways, very through the same waterways, our national wealth, which is the crude, and nobody is doing anything about it. And they are daily being asked to ensure that they fix that aspect of it. And in their research, they made in their desire to do a greater job of securing the waterways, they made a request to the government, the former government, as to why they think that they will be requesting this yacht to monitor for a proper monitoring of the waterways. At the end of the day, they signed it, but they didn't make any release. And in coming back again to this administration, who also do believe that on set to fix our waterways, then our national wealth will continue to be ferried away by strangers who are colluding with those that Nigerian citizens, to ferry away our national wealth. And he still believes that it is something that should be done irrespective of what the times are. Because it's like a case of penny wise pound foolish. If you don't spend where you ought to spend to secure something that is the life of this state.
We seem to be having a technical challenge with Dr. Washington Osifo. I hope be able to re-establish audio connection with him so we can continue with this conversation. But let me get Dr. Francis Igberasi to speak to these issues. One, the $5 billion yacht, and then of course the over $6 billion for vehicles to be purchased. Should these be the priorities of the present government?
Yes.
If
you don't do that, then you cannot stabilize.
Okay.
So there's a link between the investment in this yacht and the sustainability of even our national wealth. Before we start talking about that is closely related to our economy.
Okay.
If you want to revive an economy, you need to spend and spend wisely. I do think that with the explanation that came from the from the villa,
yes,
that it is not for presidential comfort. It is a request made by the
Navy.
By the Navy.
Okay, let me pause you there, Dr. Osifo. Let me pause you there. Let me just pause you there. I'll come back to you in a moment. Dr. Francis, let's get your take on these two key items in the supplementary budget. How justifiable are they against the background of the current economic realities, in your opinion?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I go to that one straight, I want to react to the fact of the gestation period, which we just talked about. Like you said, I am a development and health economist. By the grace of God, I should know, just like the gynecologist knows about a woman early signs of miscarriage. When a woman is pregnant, a gynecologist should be able to have the early signs. The early signs are clear that we are going to have policy somersaults, that we are going to have miscarriage. I will just give you some of those early signs because there are many things to observe. For example, while we are in the economic quagmire, economic woes, a president is appointing a large cabinet of 48. Even the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria makes it in such a way that a cabinet member comes from the state. In the present reality of Nigeria, that is already too large. But the Constitution must be obeyed. But going further, to even do far more than the Constitution requires is one of the early signs. That is where you have the special advisors, the SSAs, who are almost in the rank of these ministers, drawing allowance. The allowances they draw, we know that is more than the recommendations of the Fiscal Revenue and Mobilization Commission. And all these are linkages to the economy. I can go on and on. You see some of these early signs.
Okay.
Let me refer to what my dear friend, Barrister Osifo, just said about the Naira. The Naira free fall has been unprecedented. Even when we thought the worst has come in the last administration, we just now even saw that we were in Endorando during the last administration, that we were even in heaven, which we didn't recognize. And what that means is imported inflation, because Nigeria is an in Nigeria. Yet we have a moderate health. Even if it is maybe that we have to use it, we are allowed to see the effectiveness and the efficacy of this policy. I don't want to judge that, but I can give you the early signs that we are going nowhere. And so, we are talking of an economy where unemployment is 33.8%, where annual inflation is 28.something%, where over 70 million Nigerians are unemployed. And we have young graduates coming out every day. One mistake we continue to make is to look at the thieves and trying to kill the thieves with arms and weapons without looking at the reason why they actually go and steal. So we don't believe in carrot approach. I am not referring this one only to this administration. We believe only in the stick approach. There should be stick and carrot approach. The Aristotle's positive and negative reinforcement. Where we are spending all these billions is that we don't know that Nigeria can be receptive to positive reinforcement, especially the youth. We just believe that once you are not in government, you are a criminal. And therefore, we have to kill all of them. But that's not the correct way. Elsewhere, you see that they have to exhaust all the carrot approaches before they turn to the stick approach. So these are some of the reasons why we believe that until we spend bogusly on cars and securities, we are not a government.
Okay.
I go to the vehicles.
Yeah.
I was shocked when the Senate itself said, because the roads are bad. As if Dr. Benases made the roads bad. And now the government has agitated the need responsibility and has placed it squarely on the doorstep of the citizens. That is opposite of a policy that should transfer income from the rich segment of the society to the poor segment of the society. Policies which we said that should make spread effect and way backward effects. Now, we are transferring income from the poor segment of the society to the already rich segment of the society. That is exactly what the government is doing. And that is why I keep telling you the early signs are that we are heading to nowhere. Irrespective of whatever else, any government, any personnel of the government, any member of the political party, we have to tell you, I am an academic. I'm not a politician per se. We see it. And whenever we see it, we say it. And people start opposing us. At the end of the day, it will always come to be so. The core poor in this country today, we are talking of only the core poor who are in extreme poverty, is over 70 billion. Unemployment of young graduates. And I can tell you today that if you give 1 million to a reasonable graduate and you have 3 of them combining at 3 million, they can have a small scale industry, medium scale industry, a small scale firm. And that will go a long way in reducing unemployment. The government is not thinking in this direction. The government is thinking of vehicles. The government is thinking of yards to fight the people, to fight the criminals. That is correct. The Navy can say what they like, but that is not about the economy. The economy is fighting. And for us to tighten our beds, our leaders must first of all be seen tightening their beds. Reduce the governance, the cabinet. Go on new governance. If you look at India, as big as India, countries. Nigeria, that is not even yet there, is a large cabinet, increasing cost of governance, increasing the current expenditure. We are not investing. We are not doing infrastructural development. All we tend to do are policies that are anti-development, but are pro-political, that are pro-politics.
Okay.
This is the problem we have.
All right, Dr. Egberase, let me just pause you for a moment. I will revert to you in a short while. But Dr. Washington Sifa, I know you've been listening attentively. There's a statement credited to Senator Ali Ndume, who is the chief whip of the Senate, on the yacht issue. He specifically said that, like you alluded to earlier, that the yacht was a product of the previous administration under former President Muhammadu Buhari. And in his words, the yacht has been signed, sealed, and delivered, but it hasn't been paid for. Now, if we take that statement on its merit, do you think that in the face of the current realities, this government is obliged to go ahead and pay for that yacht? Do you think it's justifiable?
Well, you see, government is a going concern. Mm-hmm. You inherit assets and liabilities. Even from what you read, what you said about no mean of a person and the gentleman in the Senate, Ali Ndume, that it was signed, sealed, and delivered. Now, what it means is that somebody has done the job, a part of the contract. There's already an execution. Should there not be payment? The question is, do we need it? Can it play any role to salvage this nation in two ways? One, secure the waterways and improve our economy. If the waterways are secured and our national wealth is secured, and it will therefore count for our nation to have more finances, more foreign exchange. Why do you think that we should not invest in that sector to ensure that that is done? The greatest leakage we're having now, beside corruption, is the fairing away of our national black gold, which is the oil, which is the nation's mainstay. Today, because of the wars in these four countries, dollar rate is so the cost of crude oil is high up there. That is supposed to be an advantage to Nigeria if we are producing at the utmost capacity. But that is not. We are not able to do that now because a large proportion of the national wealth that we are supposed to be exporting is being ferried away, unaccounted for by criminals, which of course also touches on internal collaborators, which of course can also account for, apart from stealing, it can also account for corruption. So we need to do something about that. If we are speaking about economics, simple economics, if we are saying that we need to do something about the free fall of Naira, then we have to first identify what is the mainstay, what survives this nation. The only thing that survives this nation today, while we are asking for diversification, is that the presence of oil in international politics is still very key. The presence of oil is still key to the survival of Nigeria. So those who say that we must secure the waterways and we must be responsible enough to deal with this issue of ferrying away, visitors coming to ferry away with our national wealth, that I think is a necessary evil. Whether we like it or not, we must deal with it. Now, but if we need to talk about the vehicles, the 6 billion, the vehicles, and as well as what has now been so notable, that the bloating of the national ESCO and all of that. You see, the truth is that if you identify that there's a problem, you must be able to provide solutions. If the solutions you are profiling will mean spending more to fix it, don't be afraid as a leader to take some of those hard decisions. But I think what the question we should ask is, what are the new measures put in place in terms of performance bond, which I think this is an advantage the president is bringing with experience of having worked in the public sector, there must be a performance bond. And that's exactly what he has told. What I like particularly that he told is the warning that he gave to the politicians who are those that are working with him. Now you can't just be nominated from your states to come here to represent your political parties as it were, represent your people as it were. Meanwhile, you are representing yourself. I will not take that. The mandate is mine. To succeed is mine. If I fail, it is my name that will be dragged. Therefore, I didn't nominate you. Your leaders from your state nominated you. But since you are working under my ticket, under the mandate given to me, you must sign a bond with me. And before you sign a bond with me, you must understand that I have a mandate to succeed. And this mandate, you must work in line with my mandate. Now, these are what you must do as ministers. I will give you all that is required for you to produce it so that there will be no complaint. However, when I produce it using the people's money, you have a duty to function well and give me results. Performance bond is the first thing I think, and I believe that he has the courage, to speak to it when he needs to take decisive action to yank off those that are not supposed to be there. One thing that counted for President Asiwaju Bola when he was coming was that look, he has eyes for talents. He has, he's gifted in putting talents together. But the people, immediately this cabinet was formed, the question people asked was that if he knew he was going to recycle the old persons, the faces that are known, many of whom are known, and a few not to know, then what was the reason for waiting up to 60 days, before you form a cabinet? Why did you not just form it from day one? Look, what the man is now doing is that whereas he couldn't have come to Edo State or any other state as it were to pick a minister in the spirit of democracy, okay, it is the people that will decide who they want to lead them. And in this place, it's not from Benin. It's not from Edo State. That's the fact. It's from Lagos State. He cannot pick from Lagos and also come from Edo. Haven't given him somebody from Edo or as it were in other 36 states of the federation. Then it is not for him to put measures on ground. I don't know you, but if you are coming here, you think it's business as usual. I am telling you, it's business as usual. You are going to sign a bond with me. If you misbehave, you do not perform, and you disappoint Nigerians and drag my mandate to the ground, you will sign a bond. If you are going in that direction, you are not going well. According to his word, we can review. If you are good, you stay. If you are not doing so well, we can review. If it is incurably bad that you cannot fit into it, you leave us. This is what I think are the measures. But when a man is asking you are in the private sector, for you to function maximally, optimally, to the glory of God and to the joy of the people, and even your employer cannot blame you if what is needed for you to function as Sonny do, doing a job so well for so long a time now. You must not have reason to complain why you are not performing. If I am giving you, it is justice that when I'm giving you an assignment, I must also give you what you will need to deliver on the assignment. So if you say, and Nigerians are saying, yes, 6 billion naira is much, but the question is, what are you pursuing? You are pursuing just now a budget of over 7 trillion, as it were, and a new supplementary budget added to it, which is 2.7 trillion. Now, if assuming you take a fraction, which is 6 billion, with going side by side with the performance bond, if you don't perform on this assignment, you are gone. Then if you take it side by side, put this 6 billion to furnish you with whatever you will need or require to do well, so that we can protect and maximally use the value of the budget to the glory of God and the joy of Nigerians. You understand? To create more jobs and create more opportunities for Nigerians. I think it is a reasonable thing. It's a reasonable thing to do. It is okay because it's a public fund. Because it's public fund, criticisms are there. But for those who work in private, even the teachers, even teachers are complaining that what they need to work with, they don't have.
Yeah.
So even if you go to schools, most of the schools, even in Edo or several other parts of Nigeria, you see, the working tools are not there. The working environment is not there. Thank God I'm talking to a brother, my brother who is also a lecturer. The request through the ASU, whether you like it or not, whether private university or public university, the request is the same. That they need materials to work with, and these materials, some of them they will include cars, a functioning office, a good environment, and all of that. This is what you put in if you want to maximize the benefit. You cannot work in a squalor, given an environment that suggests that you're working in squalor.
Okay.
And no cutlass.
All right. Let's pursue now, Dr. Washington Sifo. I will come back to you. I'll come back to you in a moment, Dr. Sifo.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'll come back to you in a moment. If you just join us, it's Politics Today on independent television and radio. In today's program, our focus is on the 2023 supplementary budget against the background of concerns for cost of governance. Two major items that have been attracting some of the reactions across party lines, across many views and perspectives is what we're looking at. But we will be opening our studio line so you'll be able to call and also contribute to the discussion. Like we always say, if your call goes through, endeavor to turn down the audio level on your television or radio set, depending on the platform you're using. And please also be brief because there are several others waiting on the line to take their turns. And please also ensure you do not cast aspersion on our guests here. Whatever you say, of course, is entirely your perspective. You just have the opportunity to express yourself on the program. So you dial the studio number, will be on the screen shortly. We'll also be calling out the number for you so you can also take advantage of it on radio and be part of the discussion. 080-7777-0300. That's the studio number. And I take it again, 080-7777-0300. That's our studio number. Dial it and you'll be able to get on the show this lovely Saturday morning. But let me quickly get back to my panelist, Dr. Francis Igberase, who is joining us via Zoom from Oromi. Dr. Francis, if you have the opportunity to advise Mr. President as a development economist, what would be your advice? In what specific areas would you want him to give attention to, particularly against the background of the free fall of the Naira? Well, recently, the free fall has stopped at over 900 Naira to the dollar. Last week, the dollar-Naira exchange rate was almost getting close to 1,500 Naira to the dollar, but it's come down to over 900. We hope that is sustained. But what would be your immediate advice to stem this ugly tide?
Well, to go straight to that, unfortunately, many people do not know that if we cannot earn Naira through the sales of products, the dollar we can earn the dollar through international financial politics. The present administration, like his immediate predecessor, they seem not to be interested, or they seem not to know the advantage of the international, when you play well in the international financial.
Okay, Dr. Francis, let me pause you for a moment and take some of the calls that are coming. We'll get back to you real quick. 080-7777-0300. That's the number. Let's get your take. Hello, caller. Good morning. Our first caller on Politics Today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Analysts in studio, good morning to you all.
Okay. Thank you.
Looking for the development of the country, Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes.
This is Solomon Asaga. Sometimes it tells me also that those who have been in government since 1999 are still the one the common Nigerians are begging to cut off their expenses for the country to move forward. It is the concern of every good citizen of this Federal Republic of Nigeria. I even asked when I heard the paper headline of this budget, I asked again, where are we spending our budget? Is it in this country or outside country? I believe the past government, no other person, Muhammad Buhari, he signed the highest budget in history in 2023 when about leaving office, 6 months to leave office. I believe that budget is over now. We are about to pass another budget. Without looking the effect, the problem the masses are having.
Okay.
Without our teenage houses are still being buying cars of 60-something million. We don't need any prophecy or anybody to come down to say these people does not mean well. And again, hello, are you with me?
Go ahead, we're listening.
And again, the problem have is that it's a painful thing that we will take our time to contest. After being there, we will not say it's now we are planning. It looks somehow. So we are begging. The citizens are begging them. If they really mean well for the country, they should cut down the expenses of their expenditure. Let Nigeria work it. They are not needful for Nigeria to be a better country. I believe that the country is secure for everybody. I don't believe one person is entitled to be guided with 7 or 8 uniform men. It's even danger and risky. So let's be wise and sincere in the country so that we move forward. That is my take this afternoon. God bless you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Taga, for those views that you expressed. 08077770300. That's our studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Go ahead. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Sonny Duke.
Please turn down the audio level on your television or radio to remove the echo, please.
Good morning, Sonny Duke.
Good morning. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. This is Pastor Oko.
Yes, Pastor Oko, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Calling from Benin, yes, thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
I am very delighted about the topic over there. And fortunately enough, when we are on the air like this, I think we should discuss issues without sentiment. Not on party lines at all. Even those in the APC, in the present party, the ruling party, some of them I interact with, they're not even happy with the party they belong to, with the economic policies that they put on ground. The people are just suffering, and a minority of persons are reaping the glory of a lot of people. God does not like that. What we need to do is to always be fond of telling the truth wherever we are.
Okay.
If the government is good and they have policies that are geared towards elevating the menace of the masses they govern, they should please put those policies on board and let them execute them. The issues of the Yashi, the presidential Yashi, and the votes for the National Assembly lawmakers, they are not needed now. I appreciate Dr. Francis, who spoke about the fact that the vehicles used by the ex-administration can be refurbished, put to use, put to repairs, and then shared for these members.
Okay.
A lot of people in the public, they don't have jobs. After parents hardly train children, they go back not to have jobs. And then you are training a graduate. After graduating, you are still feeding the graduates at home.
Okay.
Will parents be happy in that direction?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So our studio line is 08077770300. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where you calling us from? Go ahead with your contribution. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sonny.
Yes, good morning.
This is my wife I'm calling from.
Okay, please go ahead.
And just like as my honorable brother have already spoke, Solomon Ataga, you know, sometimes we Nigerians, we are being sentimental when we are on air, sometimes delivering justice to the problem in Nigeria. These facts are very obvious. It's very open for everybody to see. If you are making a budget and the budget is only capturing the interest of the politician, so why are we citizens on a election day? We go to the field. Sometimes we even have individual differences on the name of we campaigning on one party or the other. So why are we killing ourselves? So for us to be conducting election in Nigeria, we should be doing selection. to be more comfortable for us, at least we will know that this is the person that is coming on board.
Okay.
At least we will be expecting anything that is coming from the person.
Okay.
Not spending your time going to the field, campaigning, making all sorts of promises. Mr. Sone, let me tell you something. The people in the Western world, they are not more better than us.
Yeah.
The only difference between them, they have a good thinking faculty. They are putting on a good thinking cap.
Okay.
America does not talk about building roads again. They don't talk about giving you potable water, giving you electricity. What they talk about now is human capacity, how to develop on their citizens, for them to be comfortable. That is what they are talking in the Western world.
Okay, I need to pause you there because my time is up. Let's get back to our panelist. Dr. Francis Igberoise was actually on before we went into the phone calls and the contributions from our viewers through phone calls. And then, of course, Dr. Washington Osafo, just take a last turn before we call it a wrap. Dr. Francis, yes, what's your advice in 1 minute?
Yeah, I was saying that the president should have a crew, a team, like Jonathan of the BGP to participate in the intermonetary exchange is not only through the sales of products, as my friends, because it is not just the war in Ukraine. It is causing the so much depreciation. Otherwise, the war between Ukraine and Russia, the effects are not specific to Nigeria. The Nigerian currency is among the worst, both in nominal and real terms, in Africa today. Why is it? Questions should be asked. It is because we are not doing the right thing. Even when we do the right thing, if we are doing the right thing, we will be able to create immunity against exogenous forces, such as the war in Ukraine and in Russia. Then I say that we should call, I am compelled to say that, not to praise anybody. We should call the economists together, not to play second fiddle, and to provide real-time solution.
Okay.
You saw what Ugozi Okoje were at it. So many people may not like her, but over time, he was able to press the Naira to be stabilized.
All right, thank you, Dr. Igberoise. Thank you. That's the much time we have. But let me quickly get Dr. Washington Osafo to take your last turn on your recommendation for Mr. President to act in terms of getting the quick wins for Nigerians.
I think Mr. President must continue to seek ways and means of solving the problems that he already acknowledged that he knows exactly how hard they are, not in terms of solving them, but in terms of how hard they are on Nigerians, you know. So I think he should stay with whatever will work for Nigerians. Because like he said, it is his name that is on the line. And he should also have courage to yank off those that are not performing. So that I think when he continues to do that, then he will be able to find ways and means of dealing with the issues that have become like a malady to us at this time. So it's just to wish him well and also wish Nigerians well.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Washington Osafo is a lawyer, former commissioner for two-time commissioner in Edo State. Thank you so much for the views and perspective that you just shared with us on this conversation. We truly appreciate that.
Thank you.
We also want to appreciate Dr. Francis Igberoise, is the head of the Department of Economics at Mudiame University in Edo Central, specifically Irua. Thank you very much, Dr. Francis, for joining us on the program. Okay, Dr. Francis, thank you for having joined us on the program today. And that's our package for today on Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday. That should be on the 11th day of November. All eyes will be on the off-cycle elections taking place in Kogi, in Imo, and I think in Bayelsa. We'll be looking at that critically, having some buy-ins from some of our crew members that will be on the ground so we can keep you up to speed with the conduct of the election. On behalf of all of us, I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, wishing you a great weekend. Bye for now.